time?
We have about 2 more minutes,
Okay,
Patty.
I'll calm down.
No worries. Thank you,
Getting
everyone.
antsy.
That's okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar on data submission guidelines for Quarter 1. Patty Long from CASAS will be presenting today. My name is Veronica Parker, Project Specialist with AEBG TAP. The PowerPoint for today's webinar is available to download under the resource pod, handouts and PowerPoints. You can download the PowerPoint there. Um, just to go over some important information. If you have any questions, please post them into the chat pod. We'll be going through all of the questions throughout the webinar. So if we don't answer your question immediately, we have seen it, but we will answer it once we get um, a chance to. When you enter the room, please press the white or green sound icon at the top of the window. This will provide sound to you. If you're using a computer or a laptop, a headset is preferred for sound. If you need to dial in, because you are not at your computer at this time, you can use our dial-in information. The telephone number is 855-369-0450, and the passcode is 630-11611. If you have any support requests outside of this webinar, please contact AEBG TAP. You can go to aebg.org and hit the support request button, or you can email us directly, tap@aebg.org, or give us a telephone call via our 800 number, 888-TAP-AEBG. Please follow the presentation. An evaluation will appear on your screen. Please fill out this evaluation to let us know what you thought about this particular webinar and if there are any technical assistance or professional development needs that you have at this time. And also, please be sure to visit aebg.org under webinars, AEBG webinars, for a complete list of all of our upcoming webinars. And now I will pass it on to Patty.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. Yeah, this is not going to be a very long presentation, but we're going to go over everything you need to know to do the data submission. So remember that this is data that's been collected from July 1st to September 30th, and you get that 1 month of October to clean up your data and to get any questions answered that you need. So I'm trying to figure out how to navigate here. All right, there we go. So you want to make sure that every student is enrolled and in your TOPS Pro database. So you need the entry record information, which is the demographics for the students, and the class and program enrollment information, whether you're using an entry record or not. They need to have a pretest for the ABE, ESL, and ASE programs, and a post-test if they've had enough hours. So if they've been with you since, let's say, July 1st and have done 60, 70 hours of class time, then yes, you want to get a post-test for them this quarter. An update record, or the update record section of TOPS Enterprise, and that's the, if you've got, sorry, I'm getting my WIOA and AEBG confused. If the student has left the program, you want to have an update record for them, which is where you mark all of the outcomes that the student has achieved, that's not shown through the pre and post testing. You also want to have all of your attendance hours in for that first quarter. Are there any questions so far? Easy peasy. So again, there's several ways you can do import your attendance hours into TOPS Enterprise if you're using that system. So for agencies that have ASAP, Schoolhouse, AIM, or Banner, and a variety of other attendance systems, those can be exported and then imported into TOPS Enterprise. If you're using a system that hasn't submitted data into TOPS Enterprise before, then and you can't get it to work, go ahead and send us an email. We'll get you taken care of. But again, you should be able to export your attendance hours out of these programs in a CSV file And then in TOPS Enterprise, you can you just go to Import Wizard under the Tools banner and import your data that way.
Patty, we have a question.
Yeah.
Jennifer would like to know, do we only
Okay.
do an update record if the student left the program?
For AEBG, yes. They should be done throughout the year, but since we're just at the end of the first quarter, it'll just be for those students who have left program.
Okay, thanks. That was the only question. That's
okay, good. Importing data again from that third-party system. Here's a screenshot of where you make all that magic happen. You go to Tools, Third-Party Import Wizard, and screen by screen, it will lead you through the whole process. So if the students, if the students are already in TOPS Pro, it will update the information. But if there are no records for that student in TOPS Pro yet and you're importing, new records will be created. So for those people not using a third-party attendance system, there's a couple other ways you can get hours into TOPS Enterprise. There is a way to, you can go through each student's records if you like and put in the cumulative hours, or you can, and that's through the Add Update Record button, or you can take daily attendance in TOPS Enterprise. Probably the biggest reason not all agencies use this option in TOPS Enterprise is because we have no way yet of doing high school transcripts, of being able to hold that information into TOPS Enterprise. So if you're an agency that's not dealing with high school transcripts, you can go ahead and use TOPS Pro Enterprise. You can set it up so that the attendance is accessible by the teacher. It's all web-based, remember, and that teacher can only access their classroom attendance, and it's very simple to use. Okay, entry records. Again, the student name and address is required if it's not already in the system. Demographics, labor force status, barriers to employment, and date of entry into the class and program, and any special programs. And yes, if you've got a third-party attendance system and you're collecting this data there, that can be imported also. All right, you should have at the very least a pre-test for each of your students. That should be done as soon as they enroll. And again, the tests that you can choose are CASAS, TABE, and GAIN.
okay. Jared would like to know,
Yep.
does a barrier to employment have to be listed since none of them apply?
Well, Jared, I think the question I would ask is, why is the student at your agency? What's the purpose? Because most of the time, students have a barrier to employment if they're at an adult education center. The exceptions might be students that are getting their high school diploma, but that diploma is not going to affect their job. If it is going to affect their job by giving them maybe more pay, then you do want to mark that there is that barrier. But no, you just mark the ones that apply. But we're trying to keep away from getting agencies to not mark any of them. We don't want that. We want to be able to report as many as we can. So again, if nothing applies, then you don't put anything. It's a good question. All right, for the update record, you need the date that you're updating the student. And again, you can set this up by agency preferences multiple times a year, usually at the end of every quarter or semester for our AEBG programs. When a student leaves the program, you have to do an update record. Again, these are all those outcomes that they have from your program. And we want to be able to show all these wonderful outcomes that we have from students, maybe not necessarily tied to the goal of the student's enrollment, but outcomes that happen regardless. So you need to have their class number, their instructional program that they're in, any services they've received, whether they enrolled in classes or not. And this is going to be an important part for some of the or a lot of the AEBG agencies. And then again, those learner results, those outcomes. So now's the time to be checking the quality and completeness of your data. And we do that by using that AEBG Data Integrity Report. Remember, this is that snapshot of the data that's in your system. Some of the data tells you that things are missing. Some of that data just tells you what is in your database and are things to just watch and to verify your data with. When you're running the data integrity report, especially if you're WIOA and AEBG, you want to make sure that you make the basic WIOA changes, or the AEB changes to the WIOA setup that's in there. So when you start generating the report, or before you generate it in the windows, that the setup window, you want to make sure that these program areas are marked that you have for your agency. You only have to mark the ones that are for your agency. You don't have to mark them all. But that will give you the full picture. Remember, there's a lot more that you can mark, and that's not for you to mark. It is this database is used by states all over the country, so we have multiple items on there
Patty?
that might not apply to you.
Karina has two questions. The first one is, when
Yes.
we run the report in TE, do we have to filter it by quarter where it says date range? Or
Not necessarily. You can. I would do that because it's nice and clean. You can go to, I think I've got a slide. Yeah. So under that date range, you can do the drop down and just do fiscal year to quarter one. And that's an easy way to do it. You can just run the report on the date that you're running with the report with no filter, no date filter. And that's fine too. Welcome. A lovely segue to the next slide, by the way, Karina. Thank you. So again, on that data integrity report, items 1 through 9 are required data elements. And so we want to make sure to get that in there. And that's date of birth, labor force status, race, ethnicity, all of that needs to be in there. Items 10 through 25, just again, that snapshot of what's in your database. But some of them can give you information that some information in that is missing. So especially with no pre-test, no post-test. If you right-click on that item number, that will open up a list of the students that are under that heading. And you can export that list to Excel. You can sort it by class, by program, however you want to do it, to maybe divide up among people at your agency or even your teachers. Please gather this information for us before our data is due. And then you can also edit all the information there once you've got it. So again, you put your data into TOPS Pro. You've added any missing data or corrected items in your database based on your data integrity report. Generate the data integrity report, and then the export button. Just click the export button, save it as a PDF, and email it to us at aebg@casas.org. And you will receive within a couple of days a receipt that you've turned in your data integrity report and that your data is in. That data integrity report tells us that your data is all complete and ready for us to take a peek at. And that really is it. Are there any other questions about this?
Yeah.
No other questions coming in, Veronica? Oh, Jared's typing. Okay. Jared, let's see. Yeah, you're correct, Jared. So if you're doing update records on students today, but then you set up your DIR to run just for that first quarter, July 1st to September 30th, then yeah, the ones that you input today aren't going to show. So for you, you might want to just run your DIR when you're finished cleaning up your data, regardless of the date. But if the student stopped attending in September or August, you want to put that last date of attendance in there for their update. And then for AEBG updates, what is the best practice for student that drops from the program, but we still need an update for? Yes. And so, Karina, yes, you do the best you can if the student's left and they haven't given you any information. This is why we recommend doing them periodically throughout the year rather than just a one-shot deal or waiting, God forbid, to the end of the year to do them. Just figure out what's great for you, what's best for your agency of when to do those update records. At the agency I worked at, we typically did them before holiday breaks because that worked out wonderfully. Students tend to leave after the holiday breaks. A little different at community college campuses. But if you look at your past data to find out when students leave, that will help you decide when to set up that schedule. So what date should you be putting on the update? You can put the date that you're completing the update record, or you can put in the date, the last date of attendance. I'd never emailed my DIR to AEBG. I always just sent it to CAPM at CASAS. No, that's not new. You want to send it to AEBG at CASAS.org because the DIRs that we get to CAPM, that's California Program Manager, are the WIOA Title II DIRs. It's not a problem. We can figure it out when you get there, but and don't worry about it being new for you. Job security for me. In our, okay, so Pamela, in our final 1617 DI numbers, in the summary information did not agree with the totals in the item description. Any idea why that might happen? Not off the top of my head. So, Pamela, why don't you send me an email and maybe a screenshot of both so I can take a peek, and I'll be happy to follow up with that. Any other questions? Anything? And remember, with these quarterly reports, we're not basing any final outcomes on this information. It's to double check that your data looks okay, that you're on the right track, and we want to catch things before things get too out of hand data-wise. Messages that students were not eligible for the program. They were eligible, so we don't know why the message of their outcome. Part of the problem is I mean, I hate to state the obvious, Pamela, but if that was still for 16-17 data, I can look at it and we'll make sure to address that in some trainings this year. But I don't believe you can go back to last year's data and correct it. Not eligible for the program I did run into that too. And I think it was, there was missing data. So like birth date was missing, hours were missing, that type of thing. So again, if you send that in an email, I'll make sure to address it. So Jared said, what does learners with only one period of participation mean on the DIR? Does that mean 1 quarter? No, not necessarily, Jared. I don't believe periods of participation has anything to do with AEBG, but it does with WIOA, and that's attendance in a program year, and then dropping out, and then coming back after 90 days later. And that's a new thing that we have to track for the feds, but that is only WIOA too. Heather, sorry to arrive a few minutes late. The PowerPoint has a slide on attendance. Did I miss the beginning slides? Yes, you did. Can you please verify that we cannot update our, as far as I know, Jennifer, as far as I know, you can't, but you can check with Neil Kelly, and see what he says. Because I believe it's already being accumulated in creating the state reports. Renee, let's see. Does it matter that I import attendance monthly rather than daily, weekly? Okay, so Renee, this gets back to the WIOA issue with attendance. We need agencies to report daily attendance by the end of every month. So that means we don't want cumulative data if we can possibly get it. This is the new periods of participation, again for WIOA only, and we don't want that they've attended 180 hours in that first semester. We need to see on Monday they attended 3 hours, on Wednesday they attended 2 hours, that kind of thing. And it's just a different button in your third-party attendance system that you click when you're importing your data. But again, it's a WIOA issue. I don't believe periods of participation is being done with AEBG. Okay, now I'm losing track. Okay, Pamela. Next week I'll be in Sacramento for the training. Yay! Any chance that I can meet with you and go over the issues we experienced in 16? Sure. I'll be there on Tuesday, and I'll be there on Wednesday for trainings. So sure. Jennifer, can you please send us a copy of the PowerPoint presentation? Veronica gave the information of how you can download it from the site. Oh, and there's Veronica's response there. Okay, and then another question from Renee. Great. But our teachers only submit attendance weekly, so importing them from ASAP is only possible every week. That's fine, but they are taking attendance daily, correct, for that whole week? Or do they do their attendance with Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday separately, or are they just telling you how many hours the student attended during the week? And again, for AEBG, it's not a problem. For WIOA, we need it done more often than that. And we do cover it in California Accountability Training for WIOA. So please sign up for one of those trainings. Heather, is the attendance feature in TE a teacher-friendly platform, or does every user need to download TE Client? Well, I think those are two different questions. The I do believe it is teacher friendly. I mean, it's simple click of the box. You just click one box at the top of the day. It will fill in all of the students that are registered for that class. And then you just go back and uncheck people who are not attending that day. Or does every user need to download TE client? Well, it's all web-based, so there's just a little bit that you have to download. It's not a whole program. So is the attendance downloads? And Jennifer's correct. It doesn't work on a Mac. Registration for the Sacramento Regional is closed. Will you be having another one in Sacramento? We've got a TOPS Enterprise training in later in the month that will be in Sacramento at the Charles A. Jones Center. I think it's October 17th. Thank you, Veronica. Heather, I believe you can use it on Chromebooks, but again, you'll want to talk to tech support for the specifics about the mobile devices. Tech support at casas.org. The attached PowerPoint has 2 additional slides. Hi, Jody. And they are slides that I do not see. Jody, can you give me the topic of the 2 slides? Yes, Renee, thank you. There's a training in Madeira on the 24th, Fresno, October 25th. Oh, it's a think about it slide. So yeah, for more information, just use the addresses that are listed there, or the phone numbers. And then, oh, and then how does the data get to your consortium? So it comes here, and then it's made available through CASAS down in San Diego to the consortium leads, I believe. That's probably why I deleted it from the other. And then we put it all together and we send it to the AEBG office. Yeah, that's probably why I deleted it from this. Thank you. Oh, these people here at TAP are so awesome. Yeah, that was the original intent, I think, with the agencies were going to send it to the consortium. This is when I first did this, like a year ago. And it has changed, you're right. Each agency sends their data into CASAS. CASAS then flows back, sends it back to the consortium to finish out while they send it to the chancellor's office. So that's why that one was deleted. I apologize for sending that one out to you guys. Deleted for a reason, because it was confusing. So each agency sends their data through TOPS Pro. No, there is another. I thought I was done. All right, so again, that this slide is the one that's wrong. I think originally, like a year ago, we were talking about doing it this way. It got changed. Consortium comes after CASAS. Okay, so is there any way the processing can be sped up at the submission time? It takes an incredible amount of time to submit and work on data. Speeding up uh, the processing time, can you explain what you mean there? Of getting it from CASAS to the consortium? Because at least on the CASAS end, we're working like dogs to get it to you as fast as possible. I assume that now that we're on our essentially our second year of collecting this data and getting it back to you guys, it's going to go much more smoothly because we've got all the agencies on board getting their data in. We're not waiting for other agencies to get their data in anymore. Oop, now I hit on something that got everybody excited. Okay. When the technicians are working on the data, each entry is slowed down. We used to be on standalone. We were able to work faster. Yeah, I know. And CASAS is working on a possible solution to that. So it's on the table at CASAS. I don't know. I don't get invited to all those meetings. For the past 2 days, importing data has been really slow, and then a message comes up, server is busy, try again. Send them into, send emails like this. Well, you can send them into me, and I'll pass them on to the right person. And Jay and I'll talk about it. So Jody and Renee, if you could let us know, just send us an email, and we'll follow up on it. And Pamela, yes, you should be receiving information about your consortium. It might not be at the quarterly basis. It will probably be at the end of the year that you'll definitely get all the information. And again, a good thing to follow up on. For me, I mean. Okay, I'll be at the pet Peter, so I'll mention it then. Good, Jody. And Tim, end of the calendar year or fiscal year, it's always the fiscal year. Any other questions? That was fun. So if you're having issues with your data, please let us know now. We did have some questions that came in 2 and 3 weeks after the due date last year. So the sooner you can get to us, the sooner we can help and get you to get that data in on time. And you can always reach me at plong, P-L-O-N-G, at casas.org. Thank you. All right, so are there any more questions before we go? Again, if you think of one later, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to help. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I think we're going to go
Yes,
ahead and end. Thank you
before we
so
do
much for
that, it
coming.
looks like
I
there
think
are
Veronica's
two
got a couple of things
people
to say.
typing. I don't know if
And
they're asking questions or not. Oh, they're saying thank you, and they look
we
forward
will
to
end
next week.
it there. Thank
We
you.
look forward to hosting you guys. Thank you everyone for participating in today's webinar. Like Patty said, if you have any additional questions regarding the end of quarter data submission, please feel free to either email her directly, plong@casas.org, or you can contact AEBG TAP, and we can forward your question on to Patty. Please register for all of our upcoming regional trainings as well as webinars. Our next one will be on October 20th, and Neil Kelly from the AEBG office will be giving you a sneak peek of the new fiscal system, NOVA, so please be sure to attend that webinar. I've provided the link to register for all of our upcoming events, so please do so. Immediately closing this webinar, you will receive an evaluation. Please let Patty know what you thought about this webinar and let us know of any technical assistance or professional development needs you may have. Thank you and have a great day.